Well, welcome to the West Sports Show. I am Glen Quartermain, and joining me is Mitchell Woodcock, fresh off the plane from Melbourne. And it might be day one of the first test at Optus Stadium, but we're talking footy because it's a very important time of year. It's national draft time, and Mitch, 10 West Aussies picked up in total. We'll go through them all in a moment, but let's start with West Coast. Is this a win for West Coast in this draft period?
Yeah, Quarters, it was a massive win for West Coast, to be honest. 3 first-rounders, a fourth player that could have been in the first round, the top NGA prospect in their book, they get him. They get the WA state captain as a rookie, and they're going to pick up 3 mature ages on Monday in the SSP. They brought in a key defender. They brought in a dual premiership defender. It's been a big win for them the off-season. I feel like their rebuild, Quarters, is tracking beautifully.
Was there any mismanagement at all of this draft? Because they clearly wanted Charlie Banfield as a father-son. He ended up at St Kilda because they had no more list spots left. Or do you reckon they got what they were after?
I think they got what they were after. Unfortunately, with the 3 NGA, and then the father-son, they just didn't have the list spots for them. And Banfield's a quality player, and they would have loved for him to have slipped through today to a Category B rookie, but he got bid on by St Kilda, and they just didn't have the spots. A bit of talk about, whether they could have rookie listed Jamie Cripps or, a Tom Cole. But at the end of the day, I think they did what was best for them. They got the players they needed in. And if they rookie listed those guys, then they wouldn't be able to get a Robertson, a Finn McRae or a Schoenberg. They still do have 1 spot left, which they will use as a train on over summer, I expect, at this stage. So it'd be curious to see who they get. But yeah, unfortunately missed out Kobe Evans as well. And interestingly, didn't put Wes Wally as a Category B rookie today. So curious to see what'll happen there.
Great name. I love that name. Now, let's go through the West Coast draftees one by one, Mitch. Willem Dersma, not surprisingly, picked at number 1. The tap dancing ballet dancer, inside, can play outside, can be an intercept defender, can play as a crafty forward. He's the complete package.
And Quarters, I can tell you right now, I've interviewed him twice in the last 3 days, and he's tall. He's 193 centimetres, but he's lanky, he's tall. He's taller than both of his brothers. He looks bigger than them already, and they're big boys too, because I met all of them as well as Yaz. Rangy player, going to start life as a halfback, I'd imagine, but wants to be a Marcus Bontempelli-esque midfield. And if he gets even probably 60, 70% of the weight on what Marcus Bontempelli produces, West Coast have found themselves a player. I really love his attitude as well, Quarters. He's really into this rebuild. He wants to go there. He knows Harley Reid through family connections. They just want to get this going. So, look, I'm really excited for what he's going to bring for West Coast fans. And I think he's the perfect number 1 pick.
Slot him in at half-back. McCarthy can move up to the wing as expected, so already taking shape, that team. Number 2, and he slid back to 4 because they did a couple of bids on some Gold Coast Academy players, and more on that later. Cooper Duff-Tytler, again, no surprise, called a Cannons kid, 2 metres, and very agile below the knees as well. So this is the possibility of being a generational player, and their earliest draftee is a ruckman, 6 Nitnat.
You mentioned it before, 201 centimetres, but crafty below his knees and football smarts. Really important to mention that too. Really handy around goals. He's going to start life as a forward ruck. He's going to live with Matt Flynn as well early on, he told me. So that'll be interesting for him. Obviously a good mentor there in the ruckman at West Coast. But overall, Quarters, this kid is going to be something special, I think, and if they develop him right. So I really like his attitude as well. Again, big, tall, strapping young man and believes he's ready to play. Normally, ruckmen take a little while to come into the system. Not this kid. He's confident he can play tomorrow.
Josh Lindsay, taken with pick 19 from the Geelong Falcons. Very rich, fertile production zone there. Tell us a bit about Josh Lindsay.
Earlier this year, Quarters, he was in talks for the number 1 pick. That's how good this kid is. He's the best kick in the draft, and I think it's what West Coast need off halfback. This guy's an elite left foot kick. Like, he's the forwards at West Coast, they've found their new favourite player, I'm telling you. A bigger body as well, not as tall as the other 2, but really strong. But, told me he practices up to 500 to 800 kicks a week, Quarters. So he's dedicated to his craft. So I'm really expecting him to come out and have a crack. So, look, I'm really excited for what he brings. I think they've done well with the balance of this list. So, look, Josh Lindsay added to that team is just excellent.
Pick 29, Sam Allen from Oakley Chargers.
I interviewed him last night on the way back, Quarters, and you'll read that in the West or the Sunday Times this weekend. I'm not sure which one just at this stage. Just a lovely young man. A great story. Again, another first-round draftee who just didn't get there for them this year because of an ACL injury. He only played 3 games for the Chargers. He's an athletic wingman who has a running vertical leap of over a metre, quarters, 102 centimetres. He ran the 2K in less than 6 minutes pre-season. Reckons he'll be back early next season to be able to play. He's going to be a slow burn. This guy is athletic. He's a modern-day wingman. Models his game off Isaac Heaney. So if that tells you anything, that's who he wants to live up to. I really like this selection, quarters. I think it's a bit of a punt, but this guy's got talent and is a modern-day footballer, quarters. That's the thing about the 4 guys they've picked. They've picked modern-day footballers, your modern-day ruckman, your modern-day utility, your really silky halfback, and then your athletic wingman on the outside, an Ollie Dempsey, Isaac Heaney type. I love what they've done with these. And all Victorians, interestingly. The go-home factor, is it there? Or if they keep them all together with the likes of Harley Reid, Jobe Shanahan, Archer Reid, could they really have this core nucleus with these West Australians on the outside?
Sam Allen with that vertical leap reminds me a bit of myself, Mitch, as a younger man.
His neck with the bigger hands, quarters.
Exactly, much bigger hands than me. Tyler Williams, pick 39 from Swan Districts.
Yeah, this was the one we were all expecting. I actually expected the bid to come on the first night. I thought West Coast were going to walk out with 4 first-rounders, but it worked beautifully for them. They traded back in the draft when that bid didn't come early from Fremantle, and then they waited, and they did very well. Unfortunately, Kobe Evans went to Brisbane. Well, not unfortunately for Kobe, but obviously for West Coast. Went to Brisbane with a pick before. Eagles could have matched, decided against it. Fremantle had the next pick with pick 40. They grabbed... pick 39. They grabbed Tyler Williams or put a bid on him. West Coast matched it, and so that's where he's ended up. He's their top-rated NGO prospect. This guy's got a very big ceiling, quarters, and extreme endurance for a young small forward. Crafty. Spoke to him last night. Really mature young man as well.
Mitch, get the home improvement the whole country is talking about. Complete Home Filtration, a water filter for the whole home. That means you'll experience not only better tasting drinking water, but also healthier skin and hair, reduced scale on shower screens, prolong the lifespan of your appliances, and so much more. Complete Home Filtration has tens of thousands of happy customers, and you'll be raving about your water from the first drop. Visit CompleteHomeFiltration.com.au now and book your free in-home consultation today. That's CompleteHomeFiltration.com.au. Mitch, let's talk about Fremantle. First pick, which they had to wait till number 25, given all the academies and father-son bids. But I hope I got this right. From Calder Cannons, Adam Swade.
Oh, Adam Swade. Fremantle have a cult hero, quarters.
Why cult hero?
Man, he is just enthusiasm galore. He did about 8 interviews he wasn't there on draft night. The next morning they did a big presser with all the first rounders. He did about 8 interviews that morning, and every one of them he did at 110%. Fremantle rated this young man highly. He's actually an Essendon NGA product, and Fremantle bid on him really early, and Essendon didn't match it. They really like this young man. Similar mould to a Murphy Reid, and he wants to play like Murphy Reid. He's going to start as that high creative half forward, but don't discount him from moving into the midfield one day, and I reckon he's going to be a really silky player for them. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he develops. A great background. When he debuts, he'll be the 7th Muslim to play AFL football, which will be a great story as well.
Pick 40, Tobin Murray.
Probably the story of the draft at the moment, really. Tobin Murray, your 20-year-old from Geelong Falcons, a bit of a surprise. Again, I spoke to him last night. Just a guy who was a midfielder, really. The midfielder's a dime a dozen in the draft, and he couldn't break through. So went and moved into a small forward role, kicked over 20 goals in 17 games for the Geelong Falcons this year, and gets his chance. A really good endurance, really good speed, a lovely kick, and really determined to make the most of it. So, Fremantle have a habit, quarters, of picking mature guys at about age 19 to 22. And they get them right. Luke Ryan, Pat Voss, we've seen it multiple times. Isaiah Dudley. So you've got to back David Walls and his team. If they think this guy's got something, that's why they've brought him in.
Some other WA draftees, of course, there are others going to other clubs. Jacob Farrow from West Perth, highly touted. Pick 10 to Essendon. Sam Swaddling, West Perth, pick 37 to Collingwood. Kobe Evans, Perth, mentioned him before, pick 38 to Brisbane. Of course, Tyler Williams, we've already talked about, pick 39 to West Coast. Charlie Banfield from Claremont, father-son, West Coast, not to be, pick 41 to St Kilda. And Cody Curtin from Claremont, pick 43 to Brisbane Lions. Surprised at Cody Curtin that late?
Yes and no. Cody's an interesting one. He played predominantly as a defender last year, and then this year played predominantly as a forward ruck. I kind of like him as a defender a bit more. He just didn't come out as well in that forward line until the Colts grand final when he kicked a lot of goals late. So look, I think Adelaide would have been hoping he would have slipped to their next pick, which is about pick 50. In the end, he didn't get there, and he's off to Brisbane, where he'll develop quite nicely behind those plethora of tall forwards. So, or even maybe down back. I'm curious to see where they end up with him. But all of those young men, very well deserved, and a great haul for West Coast. Sam Swaddling will fit right in at Collingwood with that style and be part of that rejuvenation of a midfield and inside ball. Jacob Farrow is going to love his time at Essendon. He'll love the MCG and Marvel with his kicking ability. And then, like you said, Kobe Evans at Brisbane as well. A talented young man who had his year ruined by injury. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do. I think he'll be one of the steals of this year's draft.
Now, before I get onto the rookies that were selected today for both West Coast and Fremantle, do you think there'll be a tweak to the rules at all? Because for me, Gold Coast made finals for the first time, win the final, of course, over here against Fremantle. We're able to get some big names in the off-season through the trade period. So the 5 academy players they were able to get, they were able to match bids for it. Should it be so? I mean, it seems excessively in their favour.
It does, but the reason they're trying to do this is they're trying to break into that market quarters, and you create homegrown stars and you get people going through the doors. It's a catch-22. Clubs can get upset by it, but without those academies, would they be producing this level of stardom out of Queensland? No. And the Queensland market and those academies only work when those kids think they're going to stay at the Gold Coast Suns. So I can see both sides of it. The draft was heavily compromised. Maybe we look at the first round being locked out. I'm not sure what you think, Quarters, but it's a tough situation for the AFL because I understand what they're trying to do in an NRL-dominated market. But geez, if you're, and this is no slight on Willem Dersma, who's, like I said, is going to be a fantastic player, but there's an argument out there that Zeke Uland was the true number 1 pick this year, and West Coast were never going to get him.
So 10 WA players taken in total with 4 rookies selected today. Let's start with Freo. So Toby Wan and Ryder Luke taken as next-gen academy products for Fremantle. Tell me about those two.
Toby Wan, there was a bit of curiosity if he was going to go late in this second night of the national draft and if Freo were going to have to match. They didn't, so they've landed both those young men from South Fremantle. Toby Wan is just an excellent midfielder, won the Jack Clark medal as the Colts' best and fairest despite only playing, I think, about 8 games, which is just incredible. Racks up the footy, loves a goal, and I think he's going to be a really good pickup for Fremantle. Ryder Luke excites me from raw talent perspective, Quarters. This guy kicks goals out of nowhere. Kicked 8 goals and a half for South Fremantle in Colts this year. Like, he is talent personified. It's consistency and endurance that's his problem. But if, gets into an AFL system, you never know what he could be. And look, a big rap here, but you know what? He reminds me a bit of a young Buddy Franklin, to be honest. He's got that kind of X factor and that kind of talent. So really curious to see what they get. For Freo, they're free hits, part of their Next Gen Academy, 1-year deals. They get a look at them now.
And of course, Freo, the chant, I can already hear it ringing out across Optus Stadium next year. USA, USA. So with the news that Mason Cox, delisted by Collingwood, premiership player with the Magpies, will be joining Freo on a 2-year contract through that as an SPP player, supplemental player. I like it, Mitch. I think with Jackson and Darcy, he's a third option. We know he can play as a key forward. I really like what he gives them, and I like the confidence around this recruitment too, that he's just not going to sit back and bide his time for Peel. He'll be really challenging for a spot in that team.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. So Mason Cox, I spoke to David Walls first night of the draft. He said Mason wasn't over the line yet. Mm-hmm. They met with him Thursday morning, Joe Bridie, David Walls, Justin Longmuir and the rest of the Freo crew, and convinced him that, Freo was definitely the place to come. And he's made him fully aware, David Walls told me, he's not coming here to play second fiddle. He's going to push Darcy and Jackson for spots. And Pat Voss and Jay Amos and Josh Tracy. This guy is coming over. 34 years old. But this screams of a statement to me, Quarters. We're in the premiership window. We need a ready-made backup. We don't care about his age. If he can play 5 games at the end of the year because someone gets injured, that's great. We'll land him. I love this move, Quarters. This is Freo making moves. It's brilliant. It's a 2-year deal. If he plays his entire 2 years at Peel Thunder, they don't miss out. Because what it also does, Quarters, is it allows Aiden Riddle, the young ruckman who they rate massively out of Claremont, to actually develop and build his body up. And then by then, maybe he's ready to be the backup ruckman. So, look, I love this decision, Quarters. I think it works perfectly.
Never met him, but I'm told by very good judges, one of the world's great humans too. So we'll actually enhance the culture at Fremantle, I believe.
And I think he'll enhance the the interest in him. He's a bit of a funky dude. We've seen that at Collingwood. He loves getting out there and talking. He loves being intense. I think he'll be out there and really, have a crack. I think he'll just be Mason, and I think it'll be entertaining for us and for the people out there. So look forward to it. Not sure if he'll be at training on Monday, given that it's only first of 4 years back for Freo, but expecting they're not too long away.
Okay, so a couple of rookies going to West Coast as well. Fred Rodriguez, who is captain of the State 18s this year, and also Leon Kickett. Tell me about those two.
Yeah, Fred Rodriguez, so unlucky not to be picked up in the national draft. I love this guy. I feel like he's unlucky because he's the midfielder that you just know what he is, and there's not this massive ceiling for him, but he's going to do what he does for an entire career. I reckon West Coast have got a 200-game player here, Quarters, in the rookie draft. I really do. I love this young man. WA captain, South Freo midfielder, made his debut round 1 for South Freo, couldn't break back into that premiership winning side. Excellent player. Yet West Coast, big tick for me. Leon Kickett was the bolter, Quarters, 19 years old, nearly got picked as an overager in the under-18 squad. Has just this mercurial magic to him. And I interviewed him before the draft, and a confidence, but a real humility about him, if that makes sense. I really like the way he goes about it. He's going to tackle, he's going to pressure, he's going to kick goals. And he's a project player for Freo. They can rookie list him for a few years and really build him up. I love these moves, and it's good to see 10 West Australians overall get picked. Really good haul for them.
This AFLW update is brought to you by Woodside Energy, a proud major partner of the Fremantle Dockers, supporting local footy from grassroots to greatness. Mitch, I've always thought there was no such thing as a certainty. And this morning at the toss for the first test, I thought Australia's batting, because we always bat if we win the toss. And England always chases with this Bazballs. They like to chase, but they win the toss and bat. So it just shows you there is no such thing as a certainty. However, in the AFLW, I think there is. I think North Melbourne will beat Melbourne in the preliminary final. So they win that game. I think that is Saturday at Icon Park in Melbourne. The question is, who are they going to play in the grand final? Are they going to play Brisbane or Carlton? I think I'm leaning towards the Lions, who are hosting the other preliminary final in Ipswich, also a little bit later on Saturday. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, North Melbourne for me. I can't see them not winning this entire thing. I think they're an outstanding team. It's an outstanding program. And yeah, Brisbane, they're another great program. They've done so well over the years, and Carlton have made a great run at this, but I just think it's going to be the two best teams in it, North Melbourne and Brisbane in the grand final. And if any team can beat North Melbourne, and I think it's a big stretch, it could be Brisbane.
Thanks for joining me on the West Sports Show, Mitch. And remember, you can watch or listen to this podcast on YouTube Music. Mitch, I'll let you sit back and relax now. It's been a big week from you. Madison Square Garden in New York to Melbourne for the draft. Just give us a couple of quick words on Madison Square Garden.
If you're ever in New York, get to anything at Madison Square Garden. It's incredible. If you ever get a chance to go see a UFC event, it's incredible. Really disappointing for Jack Della Maddalena.
Yep.
Islam Makhachev is the best fighter in the world and one of the best of all time. And Jack, while he got so completely dominated on the ground, he didn't submit. And to not be submitted by Islam Makhachev is a win in itself, believe it or not. But overall, a fantastic experience. The UFC do things just at a different level. And that atmosphere was outstanding. So, yeah, look, if you ever get a chance for either of those things, Madison Square Garden or the UFC, and if you get a chance to do both at the same time, do it.
I've been to Madison Square Garden, my friend. I loved it. My question is, how many slices of pizza, how many pretzels, and how many sodas and how many hot dogs did you have?
Oh, yeah, too many. I need to go for a run, Quarters. I'd ask you to go for a run, but I think you've done the old man, haven't you?
I pinged the calf the other day, unfortunately.
He's done the baby cow.
I know. Hey, mate, thanks for your time. Talk soon.
Thanks, Quarters.